and welcome to another Woodshop podcast.
Episode 38, only Dan's page.
Daniel Dunlap of Daniel Dunlap Woodworks, Peter Kapar of Petrie's Workshop. You can find us all, as well as the podcast, on Instagram and YouTube.
Welcome to episode 38 of Another Woodshop podcast, the only podcast fully endorsed by Fred Durst himself. What is
Nice.
up, boys?
Good one.
That's a pre-show joke for you guys.
That is a pre-show joke. I like that.
You have to listen to pre-show, otherwise, what's the point of even listening to this podcast?
I
mean, what do you got?
Well, we are sponsored by a company, and that company's name is MIRKA. Big thank you to MIRKA. This is my radio voice. I'm using my big radio voice for the Mocha read. Ruined. Let's start over. I'm going to play the song again. Go. Just kidding. No. Hey, big thank you to MIRKA for sponsoring the show. We really appreciate them. We really do love their tools. They are really great sanders. They're just really awesome. We really love them. I've been using my Dios a lot lately. That is a great sander. And I think these guys will attest to that as well. But it's not time for that. No, I'm just joking. Go ahead. Attest to it.
I was going to say I used my MIRKA on a couple of stair treads for the dustless sanding because the client didn't want dust all over their house, and it was perfect.
Oh yeah,
yeah, it's amazing. The
I
dustless
just
sanding is great.
sanded my entire living room with the Dios and a dust extractor hooked up, and there was not a drop of dust on anything. It's weird. It actually it was either on the wall or nowhere, and we had big lights set up. You couldn't see anything floating around in the air. It's amazing. I love that sander so much. And a 3mm stroke, you can barely feel it. I thought the Deros was like, there's no vibration. The Dios is like nothing. So yeah, love it. Love that.
I've been using it a lot lately. It's really, really handy to have. But anyway, big thank you to MIRKA. We really appreciate them supporting us and supporting the community. So that's all I have to say about that. Pete, you got something to say?
Yeah, the other people that help us make this show great and support us financially is our patrons. A huge shout out to our patrons. We've been able to, add all these awesome features. This week, we're going to do it last week, but we had technical difficulties as usual. We were able to set up an Etsy store, and now we have fulfillment of shirts going out, and it was in large part by the desire and demand
Pete,
from our
thanks for
patrons.
getting that Etsy store fixed. The little snafu. Thanks for getting that figured out.
I'm glad we're able to get it up, and it's getting fulfilled very quickly.
Yeah.
It's like, I think we just had some orders and they're already going out. So yeah, well, thank you to the patrons, and go check out our Etsy store where you can get shirts, hoodies, mugs for Coffee with Coffee Stories. And we're going to have some hats. We have some hats in there already. We have some dad hats, but we're going to have some dope hats too.
Dan has promised us that he is going to make some sick designs for shirts. And I've seen Dan make some good marketing material before, so I know he'll make some good shirts. So
we have several phrases that need to be on shirts.
I mean, we all know what they are.
Slab this, mahogany that.
Yeah. What's on my bench?
I drive a Silverado.
Don't blow out your F-hole.
Don't blow out your F-hole. So many. It's crazy. Yeah, I'm going to design a bunch sometime before Easter. So keep an eye out.
Sometime before Easter.
Very
strict deadlines here. We run a tight ship. We get these things done within months.
Note he doesn't specify which Easter, which means he's in it for the long haul, but he's not
done before
this one.
And Easter.
Now, Mike, I think we have
We got some new patrons. Yeah, we wanted to say a big thank you to Brent Sudo. We're almost 90% certain we didn't mention him last week. And our other newest patron is Barbara Woodies. And she has a call in this week that Dan and Pete insisted gets played. So I think that's it for the preamble stuff. I think we can jump kind of into the show now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Dan, I'd love to know what's on your your bench.
I feel like that might have been an attack.
It was not an attack.
I'm attacked.
You hid the attack in
it was a veiled attack.
Snafu. Anyway, still working on the barn doors. The barn doors are themselves are built. However, I did have to widen the doors inside the client's home. So I'm also having to trim out said doors. And that has become quite the process. you might be shocked to learn that like nothing is square.
I've heard these rumors.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I want to break things.
I actually come from a long line of learned drywall doctors, and none of that stuff gets applied correctly. So
Yep, that makes sense. So I've been trimming out these doors the last day or so, and I'm gonna do it tomorrow as well. But tomorrow it should be wrapped up. However, I also worked on let's see, last week I worked on the desk for my son, which was not that exciting to my son. I threw
like
in he's like, "Oh, that's cool, Dad. It's a desk."
cool. Thanks for the desk.
Oh, great
Yeah.
desk to go to school. Home.
I mean, it's not going to get as many views as a miter hole video, but sure.
A failed miter hole video, mind you.
not a failure if got those kind of numbers.
I was so close to 2 million views. Anyways, I whipped together like 3 cutting boards just to have something. I'm gonna put them up on my Etsy one of these days. I feel like Pete at the moment because they're like half finished, and I got these other things that are pressing that I need to do. So they're just like sitting in a rack, waiting to be finished.
You shipped them all the way to Iraq?
I might be talking about these cutting boards like next year at this time. So
Fun.
I'm also working on some stair treads. As I mentioned in the ad read, I started sanding some stair treads for a client, but after sanding them, we realized it wasn't going to.
Wood.
Well,
These are
drywall
concrete.
stairs.
it's actually treated wood.
Oh,
It was, yeah, they were made with treated wood.
Indoors?
Inside,
Were they
not
treated
good.
poorly?
Menards.
You watch your mouth. So I called my local hardwood dealer, and we ended up going with Alder, and I'm gonna put in some Alder stair treads.
I love Alder.
So I've been working on that. We got Naughty Alder,
Nice.
Ooh.
Knotty.
Yeah.
Naughty and older.
NAUGHTY.
That's the way I like them.
Yeah.
Naughty older.
So
Girl.
I've been filling knot holes on those for the last couple days with Total Boat epoxy and some Starbond CA glue for the smaller ones. So I got that going on as well, and then I picked up material to start on some Hickory floating shelves for a client, and I'm also going to wrap a mantle with some Hickory, and I'm going to make it look like a Hickory beam.
Nice.
So I got a lot of stuff going on in my shop currently.
Sick.
Happy holidays. What do you got going on, Mike?
Well, this last week was kind of rough for me. I was real sick and pretty down and out for the most part. It's really got to me this week. If you listen to the last episode, you could tell I was on hyped up on meds. So
Hyped down on meds.
Yeah, I was hyped in some direction. It was
during the pre-show. I was actually trying to get you to take more shots of cough syrup because I actually liked that mic.
Yeah, you actually enjoyed being around that.
I prefer cough syrup.
Cough
mic.
syrup mic. Yes, hashtag cough syrup mic. Yeah. So this
Another
last
t-shirt.
week, yeah, that's right. This last week was pretty crappy, to be very honest. In terms of, I was pretty sick the whole week, but it was, I was still busy. I have a lot of stuff going on in the shop, so I keep getting lots of orders, which is so awesome. I just love it so much. I'm still doing this bench, which I really should have mostly done this weekend. I did a lot of it. I did a lot of work on there today. Got a lot done and feeling good about that. I'm really excited to get that out of the shop just because what's up?
How much do you have left on that bench?
Not much. It's really just assembly, and I've got all the slabs cut down and surfaced, ready to go. Everything just needs to be put together, basically. I just need to spray it. I'm gonna get it all cleaned up. I'm only gonna take the thing to 180 because it's an outside bench, and
Right.
I'm putting Total Boat Halcyon on there, and it's recommended to do 2 coats of gloss and then 2 coats of satin, which Justin mentioned when he was on the show, but that is recommended by them as well. So I'm going to be spraying that. Obviously I prefer Odie's for finishes, but this is an exterior product and I want it to be durable out there. So it's going to have UV inhibitors and it's water-based. So it's not so bad.
And it's designed for boats.
Right. It's for boats and hose. No, you guys look both bummed out. Okay.
No, I'll
bad
change the
joke.
rating to R. It's fine.
No. The gardening tool.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Hoe
saved
handles.
it, guys. Pew pew pew. No, no. So this week was, but yeah, I should be done with that soon. It's just been kind of a slow slog on that. I kind of put some things on that thing that design elements that I had never done before. So I've been kind of going at them really slow because I didn't want to mess anything up. And anyway, that's almost done. Getting a lot of orders done. I've had this tray design I've been working on for weeks, and I've had it in my head for like months. And I made this tray design workout, and I cut it the other night and put the finish in it the other night. And it's sick. Like, it's really cool. Like, I really like this tray. It's just a simple catch-all tray. I don't know why. I just was really excited about making it, and I'm really excited to have it done. So, also last Friday, I got the laser, right before the show.
Yeah, minutes
Yeah, so-
before we started doing the show.
Yeah. So I got a laser last week, and I've been kind of setting it up this week. On Monday, the extractor's coming. It was supposed to come on Wednesday, but there was delay somewhere. So I've been able to play around with that for a little bit, but when that extractor hits, I'm going to be all over that thing. But I'm just really amazed at how quickly I can take a design, shoot it to that machine, and have it done. Like, the CNC takes a decent amount of setup, especially on the big bed. I've got to hold everything down. There's a bunch of bit changing. You don't change a bit on a laser. You just
Or
send
hold
a file
anything
over
down.
there and it's done. Like, it's amazing. So when you're engraving over there, it's really, really quick. So it's a very fast and really cool option. So really excited about the laser. I'm really excited to figure out. I mean, it's not going to be like the CNC has become in terms of like a centerpiece of my business, but it's going to be, it's going to make it. Well, let me elaborate what I'm saying. It's going to be a part of my business for sure, but it's not like the CNC is going to make money. That's going to make my projects more personalized and more enticing for people. Like when I sell stuff on Etsy. So when I'm selling through a shop, I can add their name to it. The personalization on that is unbelievably fast. Like, I design it, I hit send, it goes that thing, it cuts it, or it engraves it in no time. So it's definitely going to make me money. That's why I bought it. But it's, it's fun. It's really an enjoyable machine. Whereas this machine, the CNC, is such a workhorse. I just really love it. So really deviating from what's on my bench. I've been getting crazy
What's on
amounts.
my laser?
Yeah, I've been getting crazy amounts of orders this week. Trays and just stuff off my Etsy store. I know we mentioned that the Etsy for the podcast has been moved to Printful. We're doing Printful through the Etsy, and you can get shirts there. But I also did the same thing for my store. I'm basically moving over to Etsy from my online store on my website, just because there's some back end stuff I'm going to be changing. Actually, we need to get stuff going between me, Dan, and Pete, and the pod in this next couple of days, because we're going to be getting some website going for everything there. But I'm moving to Etsy just because it's so much SEO there, and that basically gets lots of traffic. And as my traffic keeps growing on Etsy, I'm seeing even more traffic. It's basically like the same thing that happens on Instagram. Like, the first 1,000 follows is super hard. Once you start getting past a certain amount, things start to trickle
Like a
in
bell
faster.
curve.
It's exactly.
Oh, yeah.
It's a curve up. So I'm just taking advantage of that and to help my sales. So and then also, Pete is going to put this information in the notes down below. But last year I did a raffle for just a simple cutting board, and we ended up raising like several $100s with this cutting board raffle for a charity local to here that helps youth. Well, the biggest problem I ran into is people hadn't heard of that charity, and they were, no one thought there was any foul play, but what's this charity? Where's this money going to? Was something I had to explain. So this year I wanted to do the raffle again, because I wanted to do something to get back. It's, not huge. I'm not like giving $10 million check or anything, but I wanted to do something I could do, something kind of to pull the community together. And I asked Jonathan Katz-Moses if I could do a raffle for his charity, the Woodworkers with Disabilities Fund. And he graciously said, yeah, I'd love to host it. So he's hosting it on his website. The website is actually private, so you actually can't search it and find it, which is, I believe that might have changed, but you need to use the link in the notes down below that Pete's going to put in. And that's how you got to get to it. All you got to do is just purchase a raffle ticket. It's $10 and you're entered. So we'll pick the winner at the end of December, and all that money will go straight to the Woodworkers with Disabilities Fund. So, and that's going to be the prize. The winner will get a a 16 by 36 charcuterie board that I'll make, and you get to choose your engraving on there. It's got handles, feet. It's really nice. So these have actually been selling for me like crazy on my Etsy store. So it's a nice walnut charcuterie board. $10 goes to help a good fund, and you could win something. So it's a win-win. And you can definitely write it off because that fund is a 501(c), I believe is the actual designation for it, which is a full charity. So you can write that off if you need a $10 write-off for your taxes. So that's kind of what's going on in my week. I got some other stuff going on, but I've been blathering on for a long time. So I'll pass it on to Pete.
Sure, we don't want to send it back to Dan like you did last week.
By the way, that's a 501(c)(3).
Yeah, which is
C3,
the best,
thank you.
fun fact, best kind of charity. Yeah,
Yes.
most
Non-profit.
write-offable. So I got a couple things going on. I was actually like sitting here thinking before the show, like, what did I do this week? Because the last 2 days have wiped my memory.
What did you do this week?
What did I do this week? Well, Dan, I'm glad you asked. Let me tell you. So I made some, I don't usually do this, but I made some cutting boards. And yeah, so I went through my shelf a couple of weeks ago. I went through my shelf and I picked all the Dan's collectible size pieces, which is like super thin, random, offcuts. So like, oh, I'll save this for something. And I made a bunch of little mini boards for that because I have a client that wants to get, I think, 15, and she wants 6x8 boards, really small, like for a quick cut. And I'm like, that's really tiny. Okay, that's fine.
6 inch by 8 inch.
Yes, like literally just
Like
a cut of
barely
line.
bigger than a coaster.
I tried
like
to
a
talk
double
her into
coaster.
something larger, and that's what
My
she
phone,
wants.
I think.
Yeah, basically like an iPhone 12. But she wanted it. So then I started going through my shelf and I'm like looking at all these offcuts and like narrower pieces. So I was like, screw it. I took it all down, glued up a bunch more boards, and I'm gonna make. They're all perfect size for bottle openers. So whatever I don't sell, I'm just gonna make into bottle openers. Double dip into that. Aside from that, the last 2 days we have been repainting our living room. We have this super high-end 70s wood paneling up on a wall. It was all walnut, faded
High-end.
rich mahogany, many leather-bound books. So the last 2 days, we basically were like, you know what, screw it. Let's try to paint it, and if it looks awful, we're gonna rip it out and put up drywall. I hate drywall, and I'm so glad that this actually worked out. So anyone watching the video, it's behind me now. It's not dark and sad. It's now light and sad.
Murdery.
Yeah, it looks very Chip and Joanna Gaines shiplap, like Mike
Less
said.
murdery.
Less murdery. No, we were gonna go with tile, but I hear that's very murdery.
Is it?
Because it washes
when you
blood
have
off
the
real
zip
quick.
wall. It's when you have like the plastic hanging from the ceiling. That's when it's real murdery. What's that 55-gallon drum full of?
Don't worry about it. We don't talk about the drum. So I'm super stoked to have this room painted. I'm getting so much more light in here. It actually makes me want to be in here a little more. And just
It looks
needs
good.
Yeah,
That does
came
help.
out pretty good. So I'm very happy with it. And there is like because whatever, it's hard to explain, but basically there's like a shelf running all the way around because there's the foundation that is running out of the foundation. It's there.
You have
So
like a
there's,
ledge that goes.
There's like a
around.
wooden ledge that runs most of or half of the room. So we just kept that in the original super high-end fine pine and just taped it off. And it actually looked kind of nice. Like it pops. There's like a little bit of wood, but
You taped it off like it wasn't going to cost you $2.50 to replace
like
it.
replace it. Yeah. But then I had to finish it. I don't feel like doing that. So that got done. What else did I do? I did a kind of a private in my house. So I was doing privates at the studio.
I'm sorry. Could you be more specific?
A woodworking class style private because I
Okay.
teach, and this student of mine wants to get into CNC, and their way of getting into CNC is putting a down payment on a 4x4 X-Carve Pro. And I was like, oh, that's okay. And they live in an apartment right now. I'm like, okay, let's
So
talk
like
this
the
out.
size of their bathroom, basically.
Yeah, so I was like, let's talk this out. Why don't you stop by? We've been working, we've done a bunch of classes together. I was like, why don't you stop by? let me show you like some of the basics, what you're getting into, things to think about. It was a very eye-opening experience for her, which was good. And then we just did a couple of things, and she's also a client too, so she's giving me some work to do in the shop. So took that on, and she was very much like, "Whoa, I gotta really think about this. What I want to do with it." I'm like, "Yeah, I just wanted, to educate you because that's a big step. That's a big purchase too." So that went pretty well. And aside from that, once the living room's done, which hopefully tomorrow we're gonna wrap up the rest of the living room and just kind of put everything back into place. I'm gonna get in the shop and start kind of tearing it apart. Not completely, but one wall, that back wall, it has like this original like long laminated top that used to go just from wall to wall. And it's nice to have that counter space, but at the same time, it just becomes a dumping ground for things. And it's also an entire wall I can't use for any tools. It's just storage and this countertop and this awkwardly placed super ugly orange cabinet that's up in this like the center of the wall. So I'm going to scoot all of that to the corner, try to get back some of that wall space because I may or may not be getting some stuff that I may need to put there into the shop. That's all I'm going to say is I may be getting a Christmas tool delivery if all goes well. And aside from that,
Did
I'm
you
making
call me?
Christmas tool. Yeah. Yeah. Now on
Boo.
Netflix. It's a Netflix special, Christmas tool starring Dan Dunlap. And the last thing is I'm making a set of cherry swing seats. They wanted cherry, and it's going to be sent to Florida to sit in that just wonderful, moist, hot weather all
Better
year.
put some really good finish over that.
Back up. Swing seats?
Swing seats. Yeah.
Swing
for swingers.
seats.
Like for
Yeah.
a patio,
swingers.
right?
Yeah, they're gonna hang off a tree. They have this giant tree in their yard, and they
Wait,
want
just the seats or the whole swing?
just the seats. They provide the rope.
Oh,
I just provide the seat. And
so
yeah.
you're making them a plank.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna CNC out.
I thought you were making like a
Swing seats. Bring your
chair
own
thing.
rope.
No, that's too fancy. But
You're just making a 2x4
planks.
out of cherry and shooting it off to him with two holes in it.
we're gonna need to so I'm gonna cut out the
$7,000.
holes so like the knots actually kind of sit inside a little bit.
Yeah,
And I'm gonna
that's
see
nice. Recessed
CNC it.
knot holes.
Recess knot holes. We're gonna CNC some design into them off to the side, so when you sit on it, you're gonna get a nice little tattoo in your butt. It's gonna be great. And I gotta finish it with. I'm probably gonna finish it with that halcyon. But I was hearing you talk about using the gloss and the other one, the matte finish. I gotta actually pick that up because I only have the gloss finish. So I definitely gotta get on that. Aside from that, I'm really stoked for the next couple weeks. I have between I have the two printers coming in, and I have possibly a tool coming in. So I'm very excited. Shop's gonna change a little bit. I just need to make more space. But anyways, I'm rambling enough. Should we jump into some voicemails?
Yeah, we got a few voicemails. Not too many. It's kind of nice. It's going to be kind of a quick episode this week.
Yeah.
We're going to start with Adam Barnett. Going into my radio voice again. Here we go.
Hey guys, Adam here from Barnett Custom Woodworks. This is a little segment I like to call "What's on My Mind." No, I should have not have done that.
Nope.
Anyway, I have a question about CNC work. So I'm sorry, Don, whatever your name is.
Don.
This doesn't really apply
Don.
to you, but feel free to chime in. So I've had my CNC machine for about a year, and I'm pretty confident that I can do whatever I need to do on it. A lot of people ask me to do stuff for them, and I usually just go, I don't really get into that. But now I'm like, wow, that's a lot of money I'm missing out on. I don't really know how to price work for other people. So I was wondering if you guys could enlighten me on how you come up with pricing for making jigs for people or, flattening things and, little work here or big work. I don't know. Everybody always has something else they ask me to machine for them. So design time, machine running time, bit wear, all these things. How should I price that for people?
Dan, you want to
Adam.
answer that?
Dan wants to go first.
I don't turn Mike's CNC on for less than $100. Other than that, you're going to want to charge $200 or $300 per hour at a 5-hour minimum. I think. What do you think, Pete?
I think that's a very sound model if you're in the right market. Yes. I pretty much price my so I'm not doing a ton of custom CNC work yet. Like Mike just went fully into that, where I'm just kind of like just starting that out. I've been using a CNC a lot for myself. Now that I'm doing it more, I'm basically charging hourly rates. And basically, if you want something carved out, it's an hour minimum. So I'm charging you that flat rate of an hour, and I'm charging you for design and cutting out. So if it's going to take me an hour to design something and it's going to take 15 minutes to carve out, that's 2 hours on the machine, basically, or 2
Can I ask
hours
a
of
quick question?
shop time. Yeah.
When you design those things in Aspire or whatever you guys are using,
Mhm.
don't they generally tell you how long the carve should take?
Yeah, you get a ballpark time on it. Usually it's actually, it overshoots it a little bit. It's not that accurate. It'll say like, oh, 30-minute carve.
So
it's
you
like
get a
15 minutes.
general idea of how long
You
it's
get a
going to take.
general
And
idea.
It's
Yeah.
so far off on my machine, it's not even funny.
It's like, it's definitely like double the time it's showing me always on mine. But then, there's, okay, you gotta get the wood, line it up, set it up, clamp it down, change the bit, zero it out. Like all of that starts adding up. So sometimes something as simple as like doing a little cutting board, it's, could, between designing, getting it right, dialing it in, setting it up on a CNC, it could be an hour work easily. So it definitely adds up. I do want to get into more like, kind of a pricing guide. I do want to do a little more research on it, but I think Mike's going to be able to speak to it better. He's been definitely picking a lot of people's brains because his CNC can definitely handle a lot larger jobs. So you've kind of been tackling that since the beginning. So how do you do it, Mike?
Well, the first thing I started doing when I knew I was going to get the CNC is I started doing market research, which is me calling around to CNC shops to see what they would charge for work, to kind of get an idea about a median, about where prices are. And the median I came up with for slab flattening was $75 an hour. It would be anywhere between $75 and $175 an hour is what I would get. I mean, the machines that were $175 an hour, we're talking 10 horsepower spindles with 10 by 15 beds.
Yeah.
So, I mean, those machines can do work just so much faster than mine because they're so much bigger than mine. So that's another thing you have to factor in. Like when your machine takes 2 hours to do something, mine can take 30 minutes to do. I can charge a higher rate because I'm ultimately going to charge you less at the end of the job because it's only taking me 30 minutes. So if I charge you $175 and the other guy charges you $100 twice, you paid him $200 for me to do something for $175. So you've got to look at the machine the person has. So those things factor in. The people I was talking to mostly had 5 to 7.5 horsepower spindles, like bigger machines. And that's what I was trying to get originally was a 7.5 horsepower spindle. But I couldn't afford the space on my circuit breaker, unfortunately. When I get a new machine, and I will get a new machine, I will get a minimum 7.5 horsepower spindle.
You're talking about upgrading all your electrical to like,
I'd have
be able to run phase 3 stuff, right?
No, it'd be still 220, but it would be
or 3-phase.
It would still be 220 single phase, but for my house, I'd have to run a whole nother breaker for just my shop. And out here, it's outrageous to do that. So I need to get a place that when we move and I get a shop, I'm going to either have a shop with a much higher amperage main or 2 boxes on the property, which is what I'm looking for is 2 boxes, a shop with its own 200 amp and a house with its own 200 amp. And I'll get a 5x10. I don't ever think I'll get a bigger than a 5. Well, I say that now, who knows? But I mean, my next machine I want will be a 7.5 horsepower spindle with a 5x10 machine with a vacuum bed and an auto tool changer. And I know the machine I want. It doesn't matter. But the point is the pricing is, there's a lot of factors and, user knowledge is a part of it too. Like I was 3 weeks ago, I was far less comfortable than I am today. I'm way more comfortable right now. I feel like throwing something on the machine I'm really comfortable with right now and I can get it done. And my comfort in Aspire and Fusion. And I now have this other program I bought for the laser called Lightburn. They're all very similar. Well, Fusion is not like Lightburn and Aspire, but as you get better at them, you get quicker at design. So the rate I go with for design is like $50 an hour for design. And, depending on the client, I might round it down or round it up, depending on what's going on. So, and then the rule of thumb I go with for CNC time is $100 an hour. Majority of the shops around me are not that cheap. I'm actually pretty cheap for running a CNC in my area. And realistically, in the next coming months, my prices will go up. And, I had a guy here local in the community. He was at the Maker Meetup, Bunny Love Designs. Tom, he's a super nice guy. He came here.
I'm Wasson.
Yeah, he's a good dude. And he came by here earlier and he needed an S carved into a cutting board. I'm not going to charge him the full $100 an hour for that. That's not cool. So, but if he was coming here with a full sheet of plywood and something that was going to take 45 minutes, I'm going to charge him an hour if I'm cutting out a bunch of templates. So that's how I price things out. I've sold a bunch of templates in the last few weeks for people, and these aren't like stock templates. These are custom templates for one-off build or for builds. Like two of the guys are furniture makers who are trying to release. One guy is releasing a line of chairs that he wants to sell all the time. Well, he doesn't have a CNC to make the templates. He asked me to make the templates for him. And now he can knock out his legs and aprons and stretchers in no time with these templates. So they're going to make him money. These templates
Bunny
are gonna make him a
Love
bunch of money.
Designs is Tom Waltman. Sorry, I had to correct myself.
So, it's easier to get into a market where people are using these CNCs to make money. It's harder to make money when your customers are people who are sort of towards the hobbyist side of things. So you really want to kind of look for customers that are on the more commercial side of things. It makes you more money. So that's one thing. And then for material, my rule of thumb for sheet goods is buy the half sheet currently, but that will be changing to the full sheet. Most everything I've done so far has been able to break down to the half sheet cost. So I charge them for the half the cost of a sheet of material. Unless it's full sheet, then I charge them for a full sheet of material. So I don't round it up to a full sheet because generally I can use a half sheet for something else I'm going to sell. So just a quick roundup. It was $50 for design, $75 for flattening, $100 for CNC time, and then buy the half sheet. And then obviously any other material that would be involved gets included in that flat straight across. There's no markup on that. I'm not making money on that stuff. So, and I buy material now in large enough amounts where Macbeth delivers it to me for free. So I don't have to actually handle the material. Nice. So I buy everything in bulk. So I don't have a handling fee for material now. So that's how I got all that set up. So anyway, I think that answers that question. And Adam, you can reach out to me anytime. Me and him already kind of talked about this offline, but you can reach out anytime. Anyone can reach out anytime. And also, I'm not an expert. I'm trying to figure this out. I just got my CNC a couple months ago. It's working out for me, but I'm not an expert. There's much better resources out there. So, I give you the information I have for sure, but I'm not the golden rule by any means on this stuff. So
it all depends on the size of his. Yeah, it all depends on the size of the CNC. I'm assuming. Actually, don't know what size CNC he has.
No idea.
But I'm assuming it's something in kind of more of my ballpark. You got to be paid for your time at the very least. So if you've got an hourly rate that you run in your shop, at the bottom, the minimum, you should be getting paid that because you're doing work. And then just mark it up by 10% just for the tool use, because that bit is going to wear out and you might snap it or something else might go wrong. And obviously charge for material unless you're providing their own. So cover your bases. Cover your bases at the very minimum. If they don't like the price, guess what? Someone else will.
It appears he's running a V-Carve Pro.
Okay.
So I just looked at his page. So he's got a V-Carve Pro.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So at the very least, cover your bases and then work your way up to what Mike's doing, which is basically have a standardized kind of pricing. And yes, we're both figuring this out. Mike's had his for what, 2 months, 3 months? Yeah, I've had mine for 9 months, and I honestly didn't really get comfortable with it till like August when I was making all that stuff for my wedding. I was just throwing everything into the machine. So it'll take time.
I don't have a CNC, but you can reach out to me anytime and I'll tell you what you should be doing.
Dan, adults are talking.
All right. This next question's from Adrienne Vita.
Who?
She has a question about Black Friday deals.
Hey guys, it's Adrienne here from Hickory Homestead Creations, and I just wanted to know, what were you guys planning on taking advantage of on this Black Friday?
Dan.
Whether that be actually going to...
I was going to take advantage of
sorry.
Dan.
Actually going somewhere like Menards, or getting a awesome online deal like at Sticker Beat or Macbeth. So just let me know. Okay.
Pete, I'm going to ask you to answer this since you're taking a drink.
I will talk, answer, ask a question.
Talk, ask, question, answers. You, Pete, go question, answer, talk.
I answered, talk, question, say word. So I actually ventured out on Black Friday today out of my house. Yeah, I went to Home Depot and went to Costco. That's the only two places. But went to Home Depot, and all the Black Friday sales were
Poo-poo?
they're fine.
They're the pine of Black Friday sales.
It was just everything was like there was nothing where I was like, whoa, I have to get this. Like
Need it.
It was like, hey, buy this multi-tool pack and get this free battery pack, or buy the $200 set of batteries with a charger and you get a free tool. And it's like, okay, so I'm like basically paying like maybe $50 less. Like nothing was really popping off the page at me. But I did get a set of AirPods, 2 sets of AirPods. Emma and I had AirPods, but we've had them for 2+ years. My microphone's shot. Her battery's just shot. So we're like, hey, Casco's got them for $109. So let's do it. Yeah, Casco is how you say it. So I got that.
Jersey's weird.
Yeah, it's very weird. Kind of borrow from the Canadian accents. Yeah. So we got new AirPods, which I was really looking forward to because I use them in the shop a lot. I keep them on. They don't seal in my ear. They're not the pros, the regular ones, but they still knock out a good amount of noise, just from, the stuff that's
AirPods. Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, they're good. They block out enough sound waves going in.
Yeah.
And it sucks when I can't take a call or record a story because my microphone's screwed up. So it's going to really be nice to have them on in a shop all the time, and a battery that actually lasts me a little bit. So that's about it. My lumber dealer had some sales running too, but it was on like woods that I wouldn't use. It was like a molding sale too. And I was like, all right, like,
molding lumber.
Yeah, like it's
really
like
wet
moldy
stuff.
Yeah, they don't pressure
Like
treat,
not
it's
spalted,
moldy.
just like moldy.
Moldy lumber. They do a whole ton of molding at my local place, Board and Beam. So that's all I really
Cool
checked
free
out.
plug for Board and Beam.
Yeah, you're welcome, guys.
Dan's bar that he's going to open up.
Boards and beams. But honestly, there was nothing.
Beams
like,
and brews.
I kind of went around and looked at all the classic, the blue store, the orange store, the freights of the harbors, and nothing was like where I was like, I have to have this thing. I feel like Black Friday got kind of lame. I don't know.
Really sold out, man.
It's
So commercial, man.
I don't know. Now I'm waiting for Cyber Monday, and now it's like Black Friday month. Like, come on, people. Should we just make it a day again and go back to the riots? Come on.
Can we just go back to the riots?
What about you, Mike?
Oh, me. I definitely bought a few things. They weren't, crazy good sales. It was like 10% off. I bought, you guys know TSO products? No? All right. Well, they have they're like aluminum anodized, really nice products I bought their parallel or their track guide, their track saw track guides. It basically sets your track saw track to a 90-degree perfectly.
Oh, yes.
And the other one has and they have one that's
I know what you're talking about now.
45 as well. So I bought the 2-pack. They were 10% off. I bought that. They're really nice. Those are the ones that I've heard everyone say are the nicest ones. So picked those up, and then I bought 2 pieces of English elm right there at local Lives Edge slab yard called Urban Wood Rescue. They had I got those for 45% off.
Nice plug for Urban Wood Rescue, Mike.
So they had a Black Friday sale. I got those. The one up front here is actually, I'm going to be cutting it in the middle, and the concave part of it is going to be my desk for my loft office, and the convex part of it is going to be the top for our console table that I'm going to be starting as soon as I get this bench out of here. So that's going to be super slick. And then there's a whole nother one back there. I got like a total of I don't know, 75 board feet of elm in that.
Have you
purchase,
even
so-
opened up that loft yet?
Mm-mm. I don't have time. Haven't gotten
so
to
many,
it.
So many bodies up there.
I know it's gonna be like I'm gonna have to open up a window and like just throw there's a bunch of stuff from the old owners up here. Just random boxes of like there's an old huge mirror, there's a crazy huge clock. I said clock,
And that
and
explains
there's like
it.
a bunch of rugs and
That's
stuff
where
like
he
that.
stores all the junk. When we went to Mike's
Ugh.
house, there was like nothing. Anything
Ugh.
that didn't have a
They put
purpose,
all
it
the
just gets
junk.
thrown out.
None of it's
all
mine.
up in the
None of
loft.
it's mine. So
Sure.
but yeah, I took
Sure.
I got those things.
It's not mine, I swear.
It's not mine, bro. So I got those things, and then now that's kind of what I got. I didn't really take advantage. I was kind of just today was the first day I felt good in like
I'm glad.
9 days. So Dan, I know you didn't buy anything, so let's make this quick.
Mike's right. I didn't buy anything. I don't want or need many tools. I always want to buy more clamps, but I didn't see any like clamp sales that were
Yeah.
like amazing that I couldn't pass them up. So I didn't buy anything. I did want to buy a new TV for our camper because we
right.
rough it every time we go camping.
Yeah.
Have to have a TV. But I didn't see any good TV sales either, so I didn't buy anything. That's
Yeah.
it.
Good reason.
Super
Good
lame.
reason. Well, 2 questions down, and we got 2 giveaways to get to. So let's get
let's
to
do
the
one now.
first giveaway
Mhm.
from Macbeth, and Dan handles all those. So I'm gonna go take a quick nap. I'll be back in 20 minutes.
I'm gonna go poop. BRB.
So last week we gave away the microjig match fit dovetail clamps. And obviously every week these are sponsored by Macbeth Hardwood.
Thank you, Macbeth.
Thank you, Macbeth. And last week's winner, which we draw and announce during the pre-show lives, by the way. So if you want to see how that happens, join us in the live.
Do it.
That would be David Sipich. I already reached out to him. Congratulations, David. Good job getting your name in and all that stuff. We are on week 24 of the Macbeth Hardwood sponsored giveaway. And this week we are giving away Odie's super duper dark 9-ounce jar with a Scotch Brite non-abrasive pad. So
Nice.
you don't throw your back out. This is valued at $40.49. Wow.
Wowsy
Macbeth
woo
is like
woo.
really stepping it up on the giveaway items.
Yep.
I am just like blown away.
It's pretty dope.
So we need to talk about code phrases.
Let's.
Why not?
We've already dropped several, and I've written down lots of things.
Recess knot hole is for sure on that list.
Absolutely, it is. We have a few. Number 1, hoe handles.
Okay. It's a good.
Number 2, recess knot holes.
Mm,
Very nice.
Number 3, Black Friday pine, which I kind of like. It's topical.
that might be the winner.
Number 4, moldy lumber sales. I'm on board with Black Friday pine, I think.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's top.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right.
Black Friday
To
pine.
get in
Hey,
on
oh,
this
hey.
week's giveaway
I
from
like it.
Macbeth Hardwood, you need to send us the code phrase Black Friday Pine to our IG account, Another Woodshop Podcast.
Also, if you wanted to get a second entry, you should have been in on the live pre-show.
Yep.
And we're going to be doing that through the rest of the month, where you can get a chance to get 2 entries
Through the rest of the year.
Bonus.
Oh,
entries.
2020 sending it out with a bang or whatever. Who knows this year?
Because it was a rough year. We're just trying to make it a little better.
Yeah, so we're gonna be lining up 2 giveaways per week through the rest of the year, and get in there to that live pre-show. We're trying to boost those numbers, and we're trying to incentivize that by getting you guys in there to get some free giveaways. So get in there, get the code word, come win some free stuff. Dan's coordinating all this, so 30% chance it's gonna be accurate.
And
Let's go.
I'm gonna pick the pre-show one
All
more
right.
time.
All
Just
right.
like, go ahead.
I just want to say, hold on. I'm joking. Dan does a really great job on the
He does.
giveaway. He does. Pete, say your thing.
But yeah, like I want to pip out the pre-show because it's if you just you're not really in it for us, whatever. Guess what? The community is in there. There's usually about anywhere from 30 to this time was
Anywhere from
52
1
people.
to 50 people.
Yeah, it was 52 people were in there at one point.
It's growing every
All
week.
chatting it up,
crazy.
having a good time in a chat. So there's a live chat going.
We talked about how we were gonna like moderate the comments, but it's getting so like active in there that we
a
can't
blast.
keep up.
Yeah, it's so much fun. So definitely check that
And
out.
I'm not trying to tell you to come in there and spout a bunch of
You just told
bunch of
me to.
nonsense.
It looks like
But
we're
we
looking
can't
for
keep up.
moderators. We're looking for chat moderators.
We're gonna have to hire chat moderators. Anyway,
Oh. Now hiring.
No hiring.
$0 an
Come
hour.
on.
we're gonna pay
Um,
you in moldy pine.
Anyways, I think we had another patron that just signed up that we need to.
Oh yeah, God. I just want to open with.
I'm not done giving my spiel.
Oh,
You
I'm sorry.
I'm
go.
both
sorry.
interrupted me.
Go.
Good
You're right.
Lord.
Yikes.
All
Sorry,
right.
Papa Dan.
You need to send Black Friday Pine to our IG account, Another Woodshop Podcast, in a DM, or you need to send that to us in an email, anotherwoodshoppodcast@gmail.com. Black Friday Pine.
Kapuya.
Once again, thank you, Macbeth Hardwood, for sponsoring these giveaways for the last 24 weeks. It's
That's
half
crazy.
a year almost.
That's
Cray.
Crazy.
4 episodes.
Well, if my knowledge of numbers is correct, yes, 24 episodes. Anyway, back to the show.
All right. Well, this one is brought to you by Dan and Pete.
Hi, this is Barbara from MWIS Workshop, and I just wanted to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving, and I really hope that you guys enjoyed your turkey as much as I did. You know, I like to stuff my turkey with a little extra special secret, ingredient called form.
It's all about the dry rub.
Puts people out. And then, they had to go and put the the Washington football team against the Cowboys. And man, did the Cowboys get spanked. So, just let me know, what is your usual Thanksgiving tradition with your family? All right. Have a nice one.
Well, since this is on you, Dan, why don't you go first?
Barbara, we love you and thank you for calling in. But why did we need that whole monologue before you asked that question?
No reason for it.
What was the end of the question?
What's your Thanksgiving family tradition? I know you probably were confused as to what the question was because there was a 57-second long diatribe of nonsense. But
what is your
and what do you do for Thanksgiving with your family?
What is our family tradition? We eat a lot. I briefly talked about this last week when I said that we do the oyster stuffing. That's like our thing.
Do the oyster stuffing.
It is so good, you guys. You have no idea.
But you said your family isn't on board.
Oh, my family. When I say my family, I mean my real family, which is my mom, my dad, and my brother.
Oh, I thought you meant like you and your Max.
Oh my God.
If you don't like oysters, I don't know if I can call you my family.
Is this why John said you're not my real dad in a pre-show?
Thanks for the crappy desk, fake dad.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
we do the oyster stuffing. Anyway, I can't. Pete, talk.
Yeah, sure. I'll talk. I'll distract
Talk jokes, make funny.
terrible thing that you just said about your family. Kayla,
I love them.
I just want you to know, you and the kids.
My wife does
welcome
not
here
listen
for the
to this.
holidays. You guys are like family now. So our family tradition is we.
How many kielbasis do you guys go through?
That is racist and offensive. That is.
But the answer is
I won't.
upwards of 7.
I don't want people to get startled by the number of different types of kielbasis we had. But we have our dinner.
Kielbasi Thanksgiving.
When I came to this country, I learned that you have to eat until it hurts. So we eat until it hurts. Then we all go
you
for
should.
a walk. we'll go for a walk and then put on, usually every year, like that all the Thanksgivings that we've done either here or even with Emma's family, no one's really into sports. So we put on like Christmas movies. Like we just go straight into Christmas mode. And
I put on my sweatpants and take a nap.
attaboy. For me, one tradition that I do every year is, and it's the next day. I had one today and it was amazing. And this all started from when I watched How I Met Your Mother way back when. Marshall makes, he calls it the moist maker, which is the next day Thanksgiving sandwich, which is like just bread, gravy, stuffing, cranberry juice. Although I opt out of cranberry juice. I keep saying cranberry juice. Cranberry sauce every year. With cranberry sauce and of course turkey, and more stuffing, gravy, and it's the most amazing
really
sandwich.
good right now.
I wait all year for this sandwich.
But
It's so great.
I may be thinking that because I've had a few drinks.
Yeah. But that's it. That's the only real tradition. And then immediately after Thanksgiving, so once we finish up the living room, we're getting a tree in here, a live tree. I consider that a Thanksgiving tradition because like that's when like my brain fully switches to Christmas, and I try to ride it out the rest of the month. What about you, Mike?
We play pretty fast and loose. No, I mean, we get together every Thanksgiving. We have, begrudgingly the Thanksgiving turkey. I'm not a big turkey fan, but
we talked about this. He's not American.
Meat.
He has burritos or something.
we do burritos. We do Thanksgiving carne asada. No, we
By the way, Thanksgiving's like the most American holiday ever. Why aren't we eating like steaks?
We do. I mean, we usually do like a prime rib. I mean, I
Yeah,
know
like-
Dan's like, that's for Christmas. And you only are allowed to celebrate your holidays the way I say.
Society holding you down.
No, I mean, we usually end up doing a turkey. And I mean, I usually try to lobby for a prime rib. And it'll win most years. We'll get a prime rib in there too. But it usually depends on which side of the family we're with. If it's with my wife's family, then I can pretty much always get a prime rib out of them. If it's with my family, it's certainly going to be a turkey.
I don't know. I think if somebody in my family offered prime rib for Thanksgiving, I don't think I'd say no.
I thought steaks were big in Omaha. Don't you guys have like Omaha steaks?
Nobody's ever offered though. So.
But so, I mean, we usually get there around like 10, 11 in the morning, wherever it's at, whoever's house it's at. Get there early. Everyone starts cooking all day long, and we never eat breakfast or lunch. We just eat hors d'oeuvres and
Avocado toast. California
avocado
stuff.
toast. We have seltzer water. We fight off black widows. No.
Fight off black widows.
I remember when I was thinking about
Luna,
that
get
when
'em.
you guys were here, and you guys, I was like, there might be black widows. I think you should. Those are real.
I mean, I only see them on a TV where I live.
You guys are so scared. Anyway, yeah, I mean, it's just family time. We don't do sports either. I mean, my brother-in-law does sports. He's huge into sports, so he'll throw a game on, and I'll just be like, I guess it's time to re-download Angry Birds. So I just don't care. I'll just sit there and chill out and be my only time of the year where I relax. So that's kind of our thing. Anyway,
Nice.
Thank you, Barbara. This next one is from Will King. He has a question about
Will King here, Fabled Labs on IG. I have a question about milling and resawing. So I have some 8-quarter red oak that I want to use for a tabletop, but I want to get it down to 1.25 inches. So what are the order of operations that you would take to get that 1.25 inch thickness for the tabletop? Would you surface all 4 sides and then resaw through a bandsaw? Obviously, I want to save as much of that about 3/4 of an inch difference that I can, because that is still usable lumber. I don't want to turn it all to sawdust. But do you surface all 4 sides then resaw, or do you surface maybe 2 sides and then resaw and go from there? I would love to hear what y'all's process would be on this. Thanks.
I'll go first. So first of all, the thickness of your bandsaw blade isn't 0. So you're going to lose some of that thickness to something.
Plus the
So-
Usually
like,
about a 1/16 of an inch.
Yeah, it's pretty small on a bandsaw, but you can't get, if you have a 2-inch thick piece of wood and you want to get 1.25 inch, you're not getting a 3/4 inch size no matter what. It's impossible. There's
True.
going to be loss. So you can't count on that. I generally write off 1/4 inch on a resaw. That's kind of my rule of thumb. Because if it's better than that, that's great. And a lot of times I'll get better than 1/4 inch of loss, but I usually plan on there being some sort of blade deflection issue or something happening, something going wrong. So if I have a piece of wood that's, doesn't matter, a certain thickness, if I'm not going to be using the offcut as like a book match, I will only mill up and joint a face and an edge. I'll go S2S, and then I'll resaw it, and I'll use the face to reference against the bandsaw's fence and the edge to reference against the table. And then the other side just gets put in my wood pile for another later date. If I'm trying to do a book match and I want to go right down the middle, I'll S3S. I'll S2E1 or whatever. And I'll do an edge and 2 faces. And then I'll run it through. And then the other side, I will rip down on the table saw. So whatever that ends up being. So that's kind of my operation for that. Dan?
Are we assuming that he's milling this down from rough lumber?
Yeah, it's probably
I'm
not
assuming,
full.
yeah.
He said 8/4, so I mean, I'm going to assume it's
So
full
if we're
8/4.
assuming that he's ripping this down from rough lumber 8/4, I mean, it could be 8/4, it could be a little bit less than 8/4. You're going to lose 1/4 inch on the jointer. I would assume. I mean, it could be less, but I
Between
always
the
assume
bend
the
in the
more.
wood, if there's any
Yes.
up, whatever. Yeah,
Going to
absolutely.
lose 1/4 inch there. When you mill it, you're going to lose, like Mike said, a 1/16 with the blade, plus you're going to count deflection. So I always give another 1/4 inch. So you're already looking at an 1.5 inch thickness tops, mostly.
Mm-hmm.
I would just, give that other 1/4 inch to the planer or whatever. I mean,
Turn it into sawdust and move on.
I wouldn't even
Yeah.
worry about saving it. I mean, are you really going to use it like right off the bat, or are you going to be like shuffling around it like? And I'm saying this with the fact that Mike and Rusty came to my shop and they're like, "You're actually costing yourself money by saving all this wood," and I ended up getting rid of a lot of wood because I was moving it around, and they're right. I mean, if you're not going to use it right away, and you're just going to store it, and it's going to be a hassle, it's costing you money.
Yep.
So I would give the rest of that wood to the planer or chips or whatever. It's not worth saving. What do you think, Pete?
I totally agree with you guys. Now, if I was doing something like he's saying he's doing a tabletop, so I'm guessing he's resawing one board to try to split match up, either book match or just have for a tabletop. You're gonna want to at least S3S that. So obviously you have a nice edge to run up against the fence. You have the bottom to run up against your base. And the thing is, after you resaw it, you have to run both of those pieces through the planer. So you need a reference surface on that anyways. So you might as well do both sides. Even if you do put that up on a shelf, you're gonna have to run it through a planer at some point anyways to clean that rough saw and edge up. Because let's be real, depending on your bandsaw and blade you have, you're gonna have a little deflection. You're gonna have a little play, and you can easily, like Dan said, lose 1/4 inch on a resaw too if it moves a little bit.
Worst case scenario, but
Yeah.
still.
Now, if you're resawing
It's
something,
easier to plan for that.
yeah. Now, if you're resawing something thicker, I actually recommend that you cut your first one to whatever your thickness is, plus 1/8 of an inch, ideally 1/4 inch, and then if you're resawing, like let's say a beam over and over again a couple times, you actually want to increase that piece because now you're having to run joiner on one side, planer on the other. So account for that as well. So I have some beams that I'll be resawing myself, and I know the first one's going to be, let's say, an inch. The next one's going to be 1.25 inch, 1.25 inch until I get through the whole board, because I'm going to have to do both sides now. So think about that as well as you process it. But I think we both kind of have the same. You got to S3S or at least S2S to get some kind of reference sides before you do anything.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to just keep the 8/4 and your end goal is the look of a 6/4 board, or what, 5/4 actually, 1.25 inch. I would just try to save as much of the 8/4 as possible. Use that as your tabletop, and then just give the edges a heavy under chamfer to lighten it up a little bit. And then you don't have to worry about wasting wood.
Yeah, and pay for sawdust when we buy wood.
Moving on, Dan, we've got another giveaway to do. It's for Tyler at HGCAZ. He's doing
Subtle.
a rebrand. He wanted to get his name out there. Dan, take the wheel.
Yeah, so we're going to do the same thing. It's going to be code phrase. Send it to us in a DM or send it to us in an email. I think by now you know the places you need to send those to.
Yeah.
And we're going to pick from the list. Or actually, should this be... Nah, we won't do that to Tyler.
Pick from the list.
He's not a big fan of Limp Bizkit. And if you weren't in the pre-show, you don't understand that joke. But I think the code phrase for Tyler is going to be recess, not holes. Send that to us in a DM, Another Woodshop podcast on IG.
Recessed, not holes.
Or email us at anotherwoodshoppodcast@gmail.com.
Fair enough.
Thank you, Tyler. Appreciate
Thank
you, man.
Tyler. Seriously. And then I don't know if we said it, but it's $50 gift card. Did we say that?
Oh, no, we didn't.
Yeah.
$50 gift card to Tyler's store.
His new store on his new website, which we'll say it now because I think he's going to be releasing it by the time this is live, and that's going to be Westfall Wood Co. So he's actually rebranding his Instagram to Westfall Wood Co. and his website is westfallwoodco.com.
And Tyler makes clear acrylic templates for charcuterie boards, coasters, what have you. Go check out his site. He does really quality work.
Yep. All right. This next one is from, let's see here, Ben Miller. And the volume's all the way down.
Hey guys, Ben from Squatch and Woodworks. I have a two-part question. First part, I guess, would mostly be for Dan. What was the first project or order that you got that made you realize that you could do this full time? And then the second question is, what project that after you finished it, you just felt the relief and wanted to sleep for several days because you were so stressed out about it? Thanks.
Dan.
First of all, is he recording from a freeway?
He's under a freeway overpass, yes.
I thought so. There was no one project that made me realize that I needed to go full time. As a matter of fact, there was a little thing called COVID that made me want to go full time. I've talked about this numerous times. I'm a full-time photographer, mainly focusing in weddings, which is a gathering of large crowds. Yes. Huh. And in March, when COVID hit and it became a huge thing, weddings tanked. So I was able to focus on my woodworking a little bit more. So it just kind of transitioned naturally, I guess. But now with everything, COVID's coming back, but photography's still a thing. So I balance both of them. And the one project that made me want to sleep for a week after I got it done was obviously that walnut desk. That thing took a lot out of me, more than I thought it would. When I first saw that desk, when Pete and I first sat down in Fusion and designed that desk, I was like, oh, this is going to be simple. I'm going to do this. It's going to be great. I'm going to get it done in like 3 weeks. And 5 months later, I got it done.
Dude, that was like after like episode 2 or something.
Yeah. So
crazy. After
that project, I was ready to whip out a bunch of easy projects, and I didn't, and I started doing other things. So
start taking on other projects.
What do you got to add to this, Pete?
Well, I have never gone really full time, but the one thing for me that made me kind of consider full time is recent. I actually talked to you guys.
It was just Dan.
Yeah. This was just for Dan.
He just asked us about what project made us the most sleepy afterwards.
But I want to hear what Pete has to say.
I know. I want to hear what Pete has to say too.
Sure. So, I'll keep it quick. So
no, don't make it quick. Answer it.
Because I didn't go full time yet. But
talk word.
There was a recent
Pete keeps saying
at my job that legitimately made me consider, I talked to the guys about it, like, hey, what if I went full time? And I've talked to you guys about me not wanting to like go full time woodworking.
Yeah, as a matter of
Um,
fact, like when that question came up or when that scenario came up, I believe like 2 days before, you were like, I don't want to go full time. I don't want to do this full time.
Literally,
Yeah.
the episode that Jeff was on from Two Moves, Pete was
Yeah.
like, I don't ever want to do this full time. That's dumb. Anyone who
And-
does that is stupid and I hate them.
Spot
Fast
on.
forward 36 hours.
Spot on.
I'm
Spot
quitting
on,
my
Jeffrey.
job. I'm going to make cutting boards and finish them. I love making.
So for me, it's I never wanted to get into, to clarify, Michael, I never wanted to get into like just where my only job is a furniture maker, a woodworker, cabinetry, whatever it might be. It just like kind of I always saw that as like just a one-sided thing. Like, yes, I can make money with it, but I'm just putting in a lot of work in it. And it's a big leap to take. What we're kind of all falling into as, content creators is like there's multiple streams of revenue you can have. You could be doing woodworking, but there's also other things that you could do to bring you in some income. And all of it combined can start, now it's not a traditional income, but like it can genuinely replace your income. You can
But it
sustain off of
takes
this
a
stuff.
whole lot of dedication.
It takes a lot of work. Honestly, it takes more than a 40-hour job does. But it's yours. You make your own hours. You get what you put into it. And it made me like genuinely sit down and like be like, well, what if I quit? What if I just took this on full time? All that extra time I have because I don't have a job, I can put into the business and just aggressively. I've learned a lot from Mike with just how aggressive he is with just saying yes to the jobs and here's my price, and just the sheer volume of inquiries. Mike can throw a price out there and people will, ghost him, but guess what? He's got a bunch of other inquiries that are going to jump on it and make him even second guess that he might be not charging enough for certain things. And that has actually taught me to be like I thought I learned the value of my work, and I've seen Mike do the way he handles the CNC now. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should be charging what I really think I should be charging. And it's, you do find your clients. There is a way to do it. It does take a lot of work. And I mean, Dan, you can speak to this for a whole probably episode. Like it's scary at first,
Oh yeah.
but the clients will come if you put in the work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying people should just go out and quit their job,
No.
but when you do quit your job, that does free up a lot of time and you're able to market yourself a lot more.
Yep.
And you're able to dedicate more of yourself to that thing. And that's exactly what I was able to do back in 2011 when I quit my job and I started doing photography full time.
It sounds really messed up, but like COVID gave people reasons to like take this leap, and it was a blessing in disguise for them, for
Right.
terrible times, but they were able to take their business full time. As far as a project that like left me feeling like I just could sleep for days, it was 2 years ago, holiday season, left me so burnt out. I literally stepped away from Instagram and woodworking for like a month because I was just so done. That's one of the reasons I stockpiled last year, because I just felt burnt out. What about you, Mike?
I think the coffee table, that redwood coffee table I did a few months back, that was not like an exhausting project, but I didn't put nearly enough money into that project for the bid. I was trying to help some friends out, which is something I have to like emotionally detach myself from on big projects now. Like small projects, I'm not so bad. I'll try to help friends and family out with the price, but on big projects, I can't do it because they become all consuming and it takes over your shop and your time and your life. And there always ends up being more cost to a project like that than you anticipate. And other factors that is definitely not the people I made it for fault. It has nothing to do with them. They had no part of it being difficult. It was all on me. I didn't price it high enough, and I accepted some offers to make that piece better that I probably shouldn't have. I don't regret accepting the offers to make the piece better, but I shouldn't have because the money wasn't in the job and it ended up costing me a lot of time. So When that was done, I was very happy that it was done. And it was, I guess, just a learning lesson, I guess, more than anything. I don't care how long a project takes. That doesn't really get to me. A project taking a long time doesn't matter as long as the money's in there. But it just was a lot of learning from that project, I think. It's like my first big commission for a client is what it really was. And it was kind of like, man, okay, I can't do that. It's kind of goes with what Pete was saying is I can't care if someone says no to my price. The quickest thing you need to do is learn what you need to make, what you want to make, and you need to learn to really quickly price jobs as fast as you can so that it feels less bad when you lose it. And it feels really good when you win it. So when you go, okay, here's my guideline, here's my price point, I can price this up. How much does this thing cost? Give me 10 minutes, I'll get back to you. You don't spend a week and a half pricing up a project, and then you're like, oh, I just lost a week and a half because they said no. If you can price it up in 10, 15 minutes and tell them this is how much it's going to be, if they say no, it doesn't hurt. But if they say yes, you've got the job. Now get to work. So that's kind of where it's at for me, where I'm just kind of trying to do everything I can to feel good about the numbers I slap on things, because when you put a number on a project that you're happy with, it doesn't really matter how long it takes, as long as you can feel good at the end of the job that you made your money. And that's kind of my thought on it. That's my approach to it. So anyway, kind of long-winded. Sorry. This next question is from Josh the Dad. I meant to play his earlier, but I accidentally went.
I was going to say, I thought you missed him.
I did not. He is getting played right now.
Hey guys, it's Jay the D. That's right, Josh the Dad, one of the big IG. Coming at you with this week's question. Hey, before I do that, though, Merry Christmas. That's right. Thanksgiving's over, so it's time for it. Merry Christmas, y'all. Speaking of Christmas, here's a question. What has been your favorite Christmas gift to make if you're not making it right now? But what is that Christmas gift that was like, man, this was awesome, and I loved making it? I'm just kind of curious because, we're all working on them right now. Okay, have a great week.
Want me to go first? Do you have an answer? So last year, I was making a bunch of like wall hanging clocks. They just were selling like crazy last year. I don't know what happened. And there was 2 I made. It was actually out of English elm and walnut. And man, I don't know why I love that project, those 2 clocks so much. I don't know why. The one was for a family, like a friend, really close friend.
One that comes to mind is like a 2-tone clock. Like it was
that's
elm
what it was.
And walnut.
It was elm and walnut. Yep, that's exactly. I did 2 of those, and it was just, I love that clock. I don't know why. It was so nice. It came out so
nice
good.
Looking clock.
So classic looking, and I just love that project. And actually, I don't have a clock that I've made in our house. And my wife's like, "We need a clock." I'm like, "I got the CNC now. I should just knock one out." So I've got the design done actually for the clock. I just need to get this bench out of here before I got a bunch of stuff I want to make for us on the machine. I'm probably not going to take a whole lot of big commissions for a while because I want to knock out a bunch of things because I want to add them to my Etsy store. But I need to make nice versions of them first. So that was something that I really enjoyed. I don't really know why. That was also the project I was making. I don't know if anyone remembers, but I spilled an entire can of Simple Finish all over my outfeed table while I was doing one of those. That was really cool. Dan, Classic. What about you?
A couple of years ago, I made a catch-all tray / watch holder, like a smartwatch holder, phone holder, charger, all-encompassing like thing. It was like a 2-piece, and I'm showing with my hands poorly. Out of walnut. It was really cool. It was for a friend of mine who lives in North Carolina, and his wife asked me if I could make it for him, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I can make that."
No car.
Yeah,
they called North Carolina.
Is that what they call it? I don't know.
No,
not even close.
But yeah, it was a simple little thing, and I really like that little project, and I think about it often.
Sticks out.
I kind of want to make more now that I have an Etsy page, but it all comes down to time. I need to find the time to make these little projects. So.
My wife was like, "Does Dan make like one-off like things? Does Dan make small projects like that?" I was like, "No, he doesn't really.
Not anymore."
It's enjoyable, man.
It is enjoyable. Like that. That's why I started making cutting boards this past week, was because I wanted
your own
to pass
thing.
the time.
Pete owns cutting boards.
Pete owns cutting boards.
I got some bad
But
news. You
those
might want to
little
open up
projects-
Instagram.
Those little projects feel like a quick little win. Like, I'm gonna be honest, like with the barn doors, I've been having to do a lot of stuff with them, other than building the barn doors themselves.
Yeah, you're like a
It's come with
framer.
a lot of headaches with hanging them up and trimming them out. I just wanted a quick little win, and cutting boards are that way. And I miss making those little simple little projects sometimes.
Yeah.
Pete, tell me how you own cutting boards.
I don't, not even close. But my favorite Christmas project was I try to make ornaments every year, and 2 years ago, the year I burned out, I made these little A-frame houses. They were just little.
I think I saw that in one of your stories.
Yeah, they're little triangular little pieces of pine. It was literally like construction lumber pine. But what I did is I took a hand plane and I did a bunch of shavings out of some maple and walnut, like whatever I had left over, and I made the roof tiles out of it, and then just
Yeah.
cut out little pieces with a handsaw, just like for the door, the windows, whatnot.
Those were
I gave them to a bunch of the
adorable.
family. They were a fun little project, and honestly, it was one of the most well received gifts that I've ever done for Christmas, and it was super
People
simple.
love the handmade things.
The handmade stuff, and we have ours. Ours is still holding strong somehow. But yeah, I love doing that because it was it was something, and I also only gave it to people I really liked. It's not like I just
Which is
gave
why
it.
Mike and I didn't get one. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I also didn't know you guys back then. I didn't even know you guys existed back then. I'm sorry.
Whatever.
That really
stick,
hurt.
to,
That
stick to your
hurts.
excuses. Whatever.
I'm sorry.
didn't
I
know
used
me?
Bing.
How
You guys
dare
are big
you.
on Google. I used Bing. You guys didn't come up at all. I typed in
I should've.
woodworking. It was.
I've been
no,
famous since 2009.
What about you, Mike?
I already went.
You did you? Oh,
Yep.
oh.
We're gonna
No
play
problem,
this
Dan.
game again.
We're doing the thing again. Well, Dan, Mike,
Well-
would you like to just, take us out now?
No,
No?
I'm gonna make you do it now because you messed up so big in front of everyone. No,
Was
I'll
that the
take it.
last question?
That was it.
What was
We're
it?
done.
That was it.
Yeah, this actually went a lot longer than I
I'm
thought
gonna
it
go to
would.
bed. You guys do the outro, and
Nope,
I'll
you're
talk to
sitting
you-
here waiting. You're sitting here. You
Bye,
sit
Dan.
because you have to say I love you and bye. So hold on.
Fine.
Big thank you to
Yeah, there you go.
MIRKA. Thank you to them
Marka!
for sponsoring the show. Big thank you to our patrons, of course. We really love you guys so much. We're trying to do everything we can to make this thing worth your guys' time and real value for you. We really appreciate you guys so much. Don't forget to check out the show's Etsy page and the YouTube channel. We really are trying to get the YouTube channel off the ground over there. Definitely the Etsy page is a great way to support us. You can buy some swag. We're trying to get, we'd like to see the gear out on the social medias. It's pretty cool. Not just because we get a couple bucks from each shirt sale, but because it's, it's cool.
Yeah,
when we see the
let's
community
be
growing out
clear.
there.
We're not going to become millionaires off the shirt sales.
Yeah, we're making like a couple bucks per shirt. I mean, those are just more of like getting the name out there kind of a thing. So
Yeah.
we really hope to see those out there as soon as Dan designs them. I'm gonna definitely get some sent to me because I definitely want to slab this mahogany that one.
Oh, yeah.
And,
I'm on it.
I want a bourbon mic one, and
Oh
don't
my
blow-
gosh,
Anyway,
the list is growing.
it's a really long list. But anyway, big thanks to. I mean, it doesn't cost anything to design it and just throw it up there. Might as well just throw it up there. Anyway, big thanks to everyone who supports us. We could always use your reviews. We're not really sure they do anything, but we'd really appreciate it if you put them in there. We think they help with the charts. We don't really actually know. All that we really care about is that you listen and you check us out. And if you could share the show, we'd really, really appreciate that. If you know someone in the woodworking community or the maker community in general who would like to have a good, entertaining show, we think we might be able to satisfy that need for them. So we'd really appreciate it if you told them about it. And if you shared it in your stories, man, when people share it in their post, I'm like, I would never do that. You guys are crazy. I can't believe you're sharing the show in your post. We really do appreciate that.
Posts are
Repost, that's how you
sacred.
get it.
Yeah.
Sacred real estate.
Yeah. Yes. But we really, really thank you so very much for all your support. Pete has something he wants to say, or he's pointing to his roof, which might be on fire.
Roof.
Get-
The
raise
roof.
it.
The roof is on fire.
Thank you for getting that joke.
Oh god, I have pain on my elbow. I just found that. Anyways,
didn't wanna tell
I
you.
want to throw out a huge thank you to everyone that reached out to us individually and the podcast around Thanksgiving, saying how thankful they are for the show and the community.
Yeah.
Seriously, I was not expecting that at all, like whatsoever. It was like, thanks for the podcast and everything you guys do. I was like, I'm
I
glad.
really appreciate you bringing that up, Pete, because
Yeah,
it's been
crazy.
really
Super
it
humbling.
really is.
It's
It
very
really
humbling.
does mean a lot. Like it's really humbling. Yeah, and you know what? I really feel bad that I didn't bring it up. I really thank you for bringing that up, Pete,
No.
because a lot of people have reached out and said thank you for the show. Thank you. I mean, it's. I don't get emotional, but it really gets me a bit emotional.
Don't cry like Dan.
Yeah,
Shut up.
it really does. It really does mean a lot. And like a lot of people have reached out and said, thank you for, the show. And they also said specifically to me, thank you for what I'm doing, which I don't even really know what that is.
People thank me for you too. I don't understand.
I don't, it's so humbling. I don't have words. It makes me uncomfortable. So I don't really know how to respond to it, but just thank you so much. And Pete's 100% right. It's incredible that someone would take
We're
any time
thankful
out of
for
their
you
day to
guys.
thank us. Oh yeah.
Like
beyond.
super thankful for the community, because without that, we wouldn't be doing this. We wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have questions every week. We have questions every week.
Every week.
That blows my mind every week.
Even from Barbara.
Even from Barbara.
That's on you.
Yeah.
But Dan, do you have anything you want to add in, or I wanted to say one more thing?
I just wanted to say thanks to everybody who listened.
I
don't have a whole lot more to add to what Mike and Pete said.
We are very, very, I mean, this is the Thanksgiving episode technically. So, I mean, we are very, very, very thankful for all the support you show us all individually and as a podcast. It really does mean a lot to us very much. There's some brands out there that I would like to throw in there. I don't want this to become like an ad. So, but I will say there's some brands that we all individually have good relationships with. The show has good relationships with. There are good relationships there that really do mean something to us and me.
Yeah, it's not just a business relationship.
It's not just those are really good. We really appreciate those. The support is great, and obviously everyone individually who listens. It's just really, it is, the only word is humbling, like Dan said. So thank you to everyone. I think we'll call that the show. We hope you all had a great Thanksgiving, and we will be back next week for some incredibly fire content. Bye.
He's finally on board.
Hey.
Bye.
What, Dan?
I love you guys long time.
Love you long time. I
love you
Dan.
more.
I love you too, Pete.
Sorry,
love you
what?
more. You hang up. No, you hang up.
hang up.
No, you hang up.
And